Hello, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm a co-hostess and resident Los Angeles mannequin restoration expert, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another episode of Bloodhaus, Body Talk, and how we talk about the way mannequins move after dark.
I don't know if you know this about me, but do you know that I collect mannequin hands? This is real. I do. I have a whole giant wicker basket full of mannequin hands in my living room.
I feel like this is something you should have told me about yourself, and we're too far in now for me to, cut and run. But I'm just going to have to process that, I guess.
I love mannequin hands. I also have a few
The
mannequins
hands
in my...
specifically?
Yeah. I just think that they're really beautiful. What happened was I was in Palm Springs years ago, and it was when Barney's went bankrupt, and I was in the Palm Springs Barney's on its last day, so they were selling, the shelves and things.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a mannequin hand for sale for $2. And I was like, "How? This is sort of beautiful, isn't it?" And my friend was like, "I guess." So I bought it. And then I just kept buying mannequin hands.
So what you're saying is your collector obsession with mannequin hands started in Palm Springs. Josh,
so
if someone
true.
wrote this,
Too
you
on
would
the
call
nose,
it tacky.
they'd say.
Yeah. This is the beginning of a horror movie.
Barry Sonnenfeld, on a series of unfortunate events, would do this outrageous thing where he would go through your script and he would write DB next to lines, which stood for do better. And he wouldn't give you... And that's all it would be. Your whole script would just be DB, 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 DB. He wouldn't give you any pitches or other ideas. Just do better, do better, do better. That's what I would get on the Palm Springs joke.
I had a creative director previously where that would give you notes on posters and stuff like that too. But a lot of times it would just be make it cooler.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's kind of good though, because at least it's not prescriptive. I mean, some people would pitch their own jokes, which would be terrible. So at least he's not doing that, you know?
Yeah. I prefer constructive criticism. I prefer working with a person to be okay, I see what we're getting at here. What's the faster way to get to that idea? And those people are lovely and great and observe ego death. However,
well, he also told me I looked like Lebron James, and he meant it. So
is that a compliment?
I don't know. We were in a meeting, and he just said, "I know who it is," at me. LeBron James. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I've been thinking for weeks that you looked like somebody. It's LeBron James." And I was like, "Okay." And then everyone kind of laughed a little bit. And until we all saw that he really meant it. And I just, every time I see LeBron James or hear his name, I'm like, do I look like LeBron James somehow? I don't think I do. For a few reasons.
Well, this is an audio-based medium, so you let listeners decide.
Yeah. From now on, just imagine LeBron James hosting Bloodhaus.
Yeah, and I look like Ingrid Pitt. Let's continue.
Yeah. First things first, R.I.P. Paul Morrissey.
Oh, God. You texted me about this 5 minutes ago. Jesus.
Art house horror legend, of course. But beyond horror, he was... Most of the time when you see Andy Warhol's Such and Such, what you're really seeing is Paul Morrissey's Such and Such. He directed Blood for Dracula, Flesh for Frankenstein,
Trash,
Women
bad.
in Revolt. Yeah, all of those movies. And what a legend.
I know.
He was 86, so perhaps it was his time.
He was, from all accounts, a very cantankerous, angry old man. And it's very, very sad to lose. I mean, there's only so many members of the factory left.
Yeah.
There's Mary Woronov and...
Mary Woronov. Is Pat Ast dead?
I don't know, but I feel like we can find out quickly.
We could find out, but we don't have to. we love her dead or alive. I think Holly Woodlawn is still alive too, isn't she?
Pat Ast died in 2001.
Okay, so not with us anymore.
I believe Holly Woodlawn is also dead. Holly Woodlawn died in 2015. Josh, do you know what year it is? Are you aware of?
Who's President Ronald Reagan?
The actor?
What an idiot I am.
Well, we've got Mary Woronov. I'm sure there may be one or two others, but I remember watching the Todd Haynes' Velvet Underground documentary a few years ago, and at first seeing Mary Woronov's like name in the credits before seeing the movie and being like, what's Mary Woronov doing in here? And then being like, oh yeah, she was a factory girl. Good God.
She was a
She's like the only living factory girl.
I think you forget about that because we all associate her with like Paul Bartel and those movies, which came later and are better.
Rock and Roll High School and Eden Rule and Shopping Mall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Night of the Comet.
Yeah. What's up? What have you been doing? What have you been watching?
I'm good. I'm coming out of the tail end of the Halloween season, so there's still a lot of like spooky watches in there, but I'm trying to like freshen it up and step outside of that a little bit. So like trying like for as many like Karloff and Over the Garden Walls as I will still be fitting into my diet. There's also a bit of like I finally watched my last Orson Welles movie I hadn't seen. I finally watched his Macbeth.
Oh, how is it?
Fucking beautiful, like painfully so, outrageously goth in the way that like a lot of his 40s work is. Deeply underrated. But I had a movie that's been sitting on my shelf for a long time now, that I just like blind bought during a Vinegar Syndrome sale, just because it had really good artwork, a really good cast, and is written by someone I really, really like. And so it's been sitting on my shelf, and I've always been like, I'll get around to that. And I finally watched it. And during the first half of it, I was like, this is such a movie to share with Josh. Josh is going to love this so much. I can't wait to tell him about this on Bloodhaus. And by the end of the movie, I was so mad. I wanted to throw the DVD in the garbage.
Oh, no.
So it's called Good Luck, Ms. Wyckoff.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
It's from 1979. It's based on a book by William Inge, who wrote Bus Stop and Picnic.
Yeah. Wonderful playwright.
Very, very famous playwright. Wrote a lot of like haughty 50s Midwestern sexual repression stories.
Yeah.
Of which this is. And then it was adapted for this movie in the late 70s by Polly Platt. The co-writer.
Directing?
Not directing, just writing.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
She never directed, unfortunately. But this is, you know, the co-writer of Targets, the former wife of Peter Bogdanovich, the production designer of What's Up, Doc and the Bad News Bears, the producer of Broadcast News and Bottle Rocket, and like, I
legend.
Deeply love Polly Platt, fucking legend. And it stars Anne Haywood from The Fox and I Want What I Want, which is a very legendary 70s trans film. And then like Donald Pleasance and Robert Vaughn, Dorothy Malone and Ronnie Blakely, and like this huge cast of like old Hollywood and 70s icons. And I was like, okay, all right, like sexual repression in the Midwest, like penned by Polly Platt from a really famous playwright, great cast. The director of it directed some episodes of Roots.
Oh.
And that's what he's most well known for. But this is absolutely a like 50s melodrama in the like vein of Douglas Sirk, smashed with the sleaziest, most upsetting 42nd Street exploitation you've ever seen in your life, which explains why Vinegar Syndrome put it out. So it's about
so far.
It's about a school teacher in like spinster who's like in her like mid 30s and is a virgin, and who lives in a small town and like lives in a little boarding house, and she's a beloved school teacher, and that's her like role in life. And when she starts like going through manic depressive episodes, her doctor tells her that she's going through early onset menopause, and like all of that is, and then like tells her to go to see a shrink played by Donald Pleasance, who is like really good and helpful and supportive, and like is encouraging her to have an affair and maybe like just experiment with herself and like get further outside of herself, which is like, you know, revolutionary for this woman in the 50s to consider. And it's played like super bombastic when the word menopause is first used. Like it's almost like a Guy Madden movie. Like the music comes down like thunder from the gods. All of that is lovely and great. And then midway through the movie, it's like in the background of it, she's been like helping a gay teacher who's accused of being a communist, like avoid a witch hunt, and like
Mm-hmm.
she's been championing integration at her school and stuff like that. So she's seen as like a very progressive figure, but not for herself. Um, and then she's like failed to form like to attempt to have a sexual relationship with anyone. And then one day at school, while she's packing up to leave, a like student who's there on scholarship who has to work as a janitor, who is a black student who's there on an athletic scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
brutally and violently rapes her.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's like the camera like shows so much and
Uh-huh.
leans on it so much, but it keeps shooting him as sexy. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps shooting him as if he's in a porn film.
Uh-huh.
Um and it's really upsetting. And she is clearly very distraught by this and is clearly not into it, but she doesn't have any experience in sexual relationships and doesn't know if
Uh-huh.
this is normal or not. And also feels guilty, feels both white guilt and also like doesn't want to take anything away from a student that she's helped up
Yeah.
until this point. And so like he blackmails her into continuing a like sadomasochistic rape relationship for the rest of the movie.
Jeez.
And it gets super violent.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the rest of the school is in a racial uproar towards her, not towards this janitorial student. And it like has a very melodramatic ending, but a very like she'll go on kind of ending. And like
Uh-huh.
it's such a heavy-handed and poorly handled mix of like feminist critique and like middle America racial critique that you feel like it's trying to say something positive about these characters, but if it's trying to be supportive of her, it comes off extremely racist in its depiction
Mm-hmm.
of him. And if it's
Mm-hmm.
trying to come off as racially progressive, it comes off as horribly misogynistic.
Right.
um and it's it's vile. I like absolutely support like really really edgy groundbreaking movies. I absolutely support like uncomfortable conversations and uncomfortable
Yeah.
depictions of things, but this is a movie that like you can feel the filmmakers like in taking like exploitative pleasure in the rape scenes. Apparently there was like a recut version of it that cuts a lot of that out.
Mm-hmm.
That's included on the Vinegar Syndrome release that like I think was re-released in the 80s like that. And that would probably be better, but probably wouldn't have, it would probably be more thematically muddled possibly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get it.
It'd be interesting to read the script and then watch the movie because I tend to want to trust William Ing and Polly Platt. So I wonder if the camera does not match the script. But
Yeah.
maybe it's just best left in the dustbin of time. I don't know. Maybe it's just poorly conceived altogether.
Yeah, I know. I would be very interested to do a deep dive in this when I'm a little less heated about it to see what the script looked like and also what the original play looks like and
Yeah, the
see
play.
at what point different pieces were added by different creators and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it left a really bad taste in my mouth and kind of like ruined my day.
You
Like
said Vinegar Syndrome put it out?
Vinegar Syndrome, it's a very early Vinegar Syndrome title. And the only like positive reviews I've seen on Letterboxd are from people that work at Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh.
And I know Joe Rubin, the like head of Vinegar Syndrome, has said it's one of his favorite movies, and he's very proud to have put it
Mhm.
out. And I'm like,
Well, I love those guys. We love Vinegar Syndrome here. I think
me
it's
too.
kind of their duty to put, they're like the ACLU for trashy movies, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of their duty to put these kinds of movies out there and make them available. So a lot of their movies are like movies that transgress against me personally, but I still appreciate the effort and the I don't know. I appreciate what they do.
Yeah, no, it absolutely like is the kind of thing that deserves to be like restored and like held in a library and stuff like that. It's just uh I feel like it should have a bit more of a conversation around it rather than like, oh yeah, it's on that site with all those horror movies and porn films.
Yeah.
Feels like not an ideal audience for that to land in between.
Totally. But it
Um,
is like the kind of thing that is can be interesting to watch academically
oh
speaking.
yeah, the like the idea of watching that in a college course is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Like watching that with a room full of like college kids and talking about it would, I think, be very interesting. And it's the kind of movie that like, people talk about like, wow, it's so crazy how Home Alone is problematic because she just forgets about one of her kids, and that's so. I'm just making up a
Are you
like.
joking? Okay.
I'm making up
I
a
was like,
fake
this
Twitter
isn't real.
discourse.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that's the kind of movie that like, no, like this is a movie that's like begging for people to like talk about and debate. But it kind of feels sort of like those mid 90s David Mamet movies like Oleana that are like,
Mhm.
I'm just asking questions. I'm just giving you both sides. And it's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no both sides to rape, really.
yeah.
But that's interesting. It's very relevant to the movie we're talking about today. Also relevant to this is what I watched, which is also an adaptation of a play, and it's the 1950s adaptation of The Bad Seed, which
Ooh.
I had seen before. I actually saw it in college because my college did like a campy production of it where my boyfriend played the killer kid Rhoda in drag.
That's very fun.
Um, and so I had seen a version of the play. I'd seen this movie before too, but maybe like 25 years ago, honestly.
Mm.
And I kind of looked at Letterboxd while I was watching it, and it's true that so like all of the criticisms of this movie are of course things that I love about it. So people are like, it's very talky, it feels like a play, and I'm like, I love both of those things about it. I think that those are some of its strengths. Like I
Yeah,
like
I
movies
agree.
that feel like plays. People complained about the acting feeling old timey, which I think is true, but it's also very good. I think Patty McCormick playing Rhoda, it's a campy performance. But the two women that play mothers
Are very grounded.
especially the drunk mom who's like, she only has one scene and she's the mom of the kid who drowned, Mrs.
Oh,
Daigle.
God.
She
Yeah.
shows up drunk and she's like a working class mom and she's confronting an upper class family. And that scene breaks my heart. I mean, that performance is astounding. It's the kind of scene that you like want to do. It's like a great role for an actor because you only have one scene, but it's so good and it's so impactful that it kind of steals the movie. So it's like a perfect character actory role. I think the movie is genuinely very sad at moments, genuinely very creepy. It's interesting academically because it came at a time when psychologists were just starting to explore the question of mental health being hereditary rather than just a symptom of one's environment. It really was believed that people who had some sort of psychotic disorder or criminals, it was 100% just because their environment. They imagined that only people from the slums could have these kinds of pathologies. And so this play and movie come right at a time when psychologists were about to say it. We're starting to realize like, oh, maybe some of this is hereditary. I just think it's like a great movie, a really great play adaptation.
It's really good. It's a movie that I kind of compared to Valley of the Dolls in a way, and a handful of movies like this, and that it like walks that line between you absolutely are like full on into the melodrama of it as a drama and are like able to emotionally connect and relate to it, but then it can take a fucking like 90-degree turn into camp 2 seconds later and you're also right there with it laughing, and it can swing you back and forth. The gardener handyman character who's always
Leroy.
like, they got little pink electric chairs for little girls like you, little blue ones for little boys too, is one of the funniest things in any movie ever. I love it so much. But also like this movie is very much from the parents' perspective, and the parental nightmare of like being alone with a child you can't trust is so terrifying. And I grew up in a house with with a very violent sibling, with a very violent like child, and I watched my parents go through that my entire life. And I went through that like terrified for a lot of my childhood. And yeah, it's fucking scary. And I have a really weird fascination with Killer Kid movies for reasons like that. And this movie I find deeply, deeply, deeply sad. I do find the tacked on studio ending hilarious.
It's really silly. Yeah, the Hays Code ending.
The Hays Code BAP ending is very funny.
Which is not the ending from the play where she gets away with it, I believe.
But I think this is the Citizen Kane of Killer Kid movies. I think this makes The Omen look like dinner theater. Like, I think I love this movie so much. And Patty McCormack is still alive, and she's still doing bad seed related like Hallmark movies.
Good for her.
Good for her. She rules. She's like.
You're totally right about this. It reminds me of like All That Heaven Allows, Valley of the Dolls, like melodramas, and the pure melodramas where you're right. It goes from like being very campy to like being very effective, and you're right there with it emotionally. I love the groundskeeper character that you mentioned, whose name is Leroy, but everyone calls him Leroy.
Leroy.
An old-timey movie. I love the transatlantic accents. It's a great one. Really great.
I think they call him Leroy because it's directed by Mervyn Leroy, and he looked at the script and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's like my name," and they're like, "No, it's Leroy, dude."
Leroy. Yeah, I loved it. Anyway,
now for something a lot less fun.
A lot less fun. More like the first movie we discussed. So this is a remake from 2012. It's a remake of the iconic, also divisive 1980 film, directed by Frank Calhoun. We are discussing Maniac. So I saw this. This came out the year that I lived in New Zealand, and I saw it at the Auckland International Film Festival. And it was a big deal because the movie was and is still, I believe, banned in New Zealand. Jesus. So the only time you could see it was at this festival screening. There were 2 screenings of it at this giant, beautiful historic theater in Auckland. So still to this day, I looked it up, and if I'm not mistaken, it's still banned in New Zealand. You can't stream it there or buy a physical copy of it. It can only be shown at a festival or for academic purposes. So I saw this at a festival with a giant audience full of people, and I really liked it. I don't remember if I had seen the 1980 film yet. I believe I had, but I've only seen that movie once, and it's not a movie that really means anything to me personally. Not because I don't like it. I just, it's a movie I've seen once, and that's it. But this, I rewatched for this podcast because I've been thinking about it from time to time since I saw it, over 10 years ago now. And I wanted to see if I still liked it as much, and I did. But you hadn't seen this before, so...
I had not seen this before, and as the point of this recording, I've also not seen the original Maniac yet, either. Mm-hmm. So this is my first foray into Maniac. I'm aware of the original. I'm aware of the iconic poster art, which this movie makes a nod to. I'm aware of Joe Spinell. I'm aware of...
William Lustig
and Blue Underground and all of that. But I have yet to take the time out of my day to watch the movie because, it's
not fun. It's not. It's a roughie.
It sounds like a roughie. It doesn't sound super fun. So I'll get, especially after having watched this, I'm now more excited and incentivized to get to it.
It also has very famous special effects by Tom Savini, which is always worth watching.
Yeah, God, the fucking king of gore himself.
Love him.
The only thing I knew about this movie was it's Elijah Wood and the first person POV gimmick. Um, and I was really taken with this movie. It really worked for me straight out of the gate. It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
It's deeply uncomfortable. I had to look away a lot of the time, and I really needed like a palate cleanser afterwards. But I do fully think that this is a very, very, very good movie. And
Yeah.
god
Good.
damn, what a score, and what a
Oh, the score
stylish
is
fucking movie.
God, the style of it is so good. That's what I mostly thought of was just like shots of downtown LA and that score and like driving around at night in downtown LA. So the original film is set in New York City. Came out in 1980. New York City was a very different place. And when I looked at some of the Letterboxd reviews, some people who didn't like this movie were mad at the location change. But I remember reading interviews with Elijah Wood and the director when it came out. And what they said was, the New York City of 1980 no longer exists. There's no part of New York City, unless you go very far out into one of the boroughs, that is still as gritty and as seedy as the New York of 1980. But do you know what is as gritty and seedy? It's downtown LA. So if you've never spent time in Los Angeles, our downtown is not the center of our city. It's a weird kind of tucked away place. It's empty at night, basically. It's full of unhoused people and drug addicts and street people. And so I think that's like a perfect swap.
The idea of putting this in like 2013 New York is wild to me. The idea of like first person killer POV going to the M&M store. Like
I know, yeah.
I will also say, like, to your point of LA being a really good like transition for the remake of this movie, it's even better because I watched it yesterday. And yesterday morning, while walking to brunch in Glendale, I watched a man like start lighting a crack pipe like right in front of me, like on the sidewalk at like 11 a.m. and like in Glendale. Like,
yeah, I just saw someone smoking crack. In the Miracle Mile Target.
What the fuck?
In the produce aisle.
Y'all, crack is back. You heard it here first.
I can't smell the difference between crack and meth, so maybe it was meth. But this is all just to say, I'm from Seattle. I lived in New York for 15 years. Both of those cities are so cleaned up and so sterile compared to what they used to be. LA is still very much a gritty, seedy city. It might be worse than it used to be. So when you watch an 80s movie where someone is, like a trashy 80s movie like Angel, when you see those scenes of people driving down Hollywood Boulevard at night, it's still exactly like that, if not worse and sadder.
Well, especially DTLA. This movie spends so much time around like Skid Row and like the Cecil Hotel and stuff like that, which are like, to a certain audience, the scariest parts of Los Angeles. But also, like, DTLA is a small part of town. It's not very large. And so to get so much real estate out of it in this movie is very awesome and impressive to me. But it's also funny at the end of the movie when he is telling the final intended victim, I came all the way across town for you. And I'm like, you're still in DTLA. You went, like, 2 blocks.
Yeah. And the architecture of DTLA looks great in this movie. So it was, DTLA is all from the 1910s and 20s. So the architecture is really beautiful, but just like really
not well taken care of,
fallen apart. So like the first victim, her apartment building is really beautiful. Just things like that. Like the look of this film is really, really great. And a huge part of that is DTLA. And I love the move from Times Square to DTLA. I think it's brilliant.
That first apartment set piece when he cuts the lights is so
good,
fucking terrifying. If that was just a short film on its own, like it would be a fucking 10 out of 10. It's outrageously good. And like we'll get to the first person POV, I'm sure, but
let's do it now. I mean, it's a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, for a lot of people, it doesn't work and they can't get past it. And they, you know, as I can see from the Letterboxd reviews, that's true of many people. Many people say that they couldn't make it past 15 minutes of this because of that gimmick. For me, it really works. And I'm right there with it. I think it works really well here. And it even breaks the gimmick. And this is the thing we complain about. We had this complaint about Late Night with the Devil. We had this complaint about In a Violent Nature, where it sets an assignment for itself and then doesn't do it. We do break from first person a few times here, and I don't mind it. I think it works fine here. So it totally works for me. How about you?
I think it absolutely works, but I'm wondering why it wouldn't work for some people. The only two reasons I can think of are either like absolute fealty to the original and like how dare you change
Mm-hmm.
it that much, but also like it's deeply uncomfortable to be in his shoes the entire and be like literally in his eyes the entire time and have no release from that. It makes you feel directly culpable in all the action in a really unnerving and unsettling way. So I feel like that might be a reason why a good bit of people aren't able to watch this movie in full because of that.
I was thinking about it a lot. Oh, sorry. Were you going to say more?
No.
Go ahead. I was no. I was thinking about it a lot during the movie because I was like, is this intended to make me is it like Funny Games, right? Am I supposed to feel complicit in this violence? But it actually does the opposite for me, which is like, I'm not siding with him. I'm in his point of view, but I don't want him to do it. You know? And also he doesn't want to do it. He's struggling with his mental health. So it's like, it's a more interesting POV than Funny Games, which we just talked about.
Yeah, I literally, as soon as I finished watching this movie, I turned to my girlfriend and I said, this is a significantly more successful thematic exploration of the idea of Funny Games. Like, entirely.
It assumes our POV correctly. Funny Games is a movie that assumes that we're loving the violence when we're probably not. And this movie assumes that we're hating it, which we are. And you know what I mean? So it's like it correctly, it makes the correct assessment of the audience POV.
It still has that self-reflexive thing that Funny Games has, while also like being more brutal than Funny Games by keeping you in there, but also allows the separation of the audience and character more, and I feel like isn't as preachy. In that move too. It's a bit more agnostic, and that way I think it is more successful. This movie is deeply uncomfortable to watch every single time. There's a set piece where he is following a dancer, and the entire time I would just kept being like, I really hope she gets away. I really hope she gets away. I really hope she gets away. Like, please, girly, just like if you get off the subway train, just like walk next to the train the whole time and then wait for the doors to about to close and hop back on. Like you can evade him. You can get away from him. Like, please, please, please. And spoiler alert, she doesn't. And it's really heartbreaking. The times that it breaks its mold, I think, are successful because a lot of them are either fantasies or drama or like dreams to a degree, which he self-projects quite a bit. But every now and then during kills, we get like an out of body, which I think stays within the logic of the movie. It is still his perspective because he is almost sort of dealing with some form of mental health issue in which he is talking to himself as if another self is to blame for this. So at the most brutal moments of a lot of these kills, the camera will like swing out in a way and watch it externally. And hear interviews with people where like something terrible has happened and they're like, yeah, I was just watching myself do that.
So in that sense, you mean this movie is not sort of bucking its own assignment in the way that some of the other movies that we just discussed were.
I think that's why it works for me. I think it's transforming
Me too, I agree.
its assignment.
I think that's very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's still within its logic. I don't think it's breaking it at all.
Yeah. This movie was directed by Frank Calhoun and written by Gregory Levasseur and the very famous now Alexandre Aja, who are all French extremist rather people. Alexandre Aja, of course, has directed, Crawl and The Hills Have Eyes, and this guy wrote. Oh no, he did. Gregory Levasseur wrote The Hills Have Eyes remake. So they're just kind of in the stew.
They both did High Tension.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Franck Calfoun.
He directed P2, which I've never seen, but I've heard is pretty good.
Yeah, I have too. That's kind of like his breakthrough. Maniac is so good and so well shot.
Cinematography, beautiful. Score, beautiful.
Yeah, cinematography by Maxime Alexandre, who has gone on to shoot Annabelle and Nun movies and Shazam, apparently.
That's a step down.
Yeah. Well, he's working.
I mean, get that check.
Yeah. But it's beautifully fucking shot. There's a sequence. There's so many points at which the POV makes you think, how in fuck did they shoot this? And there's a scene that's all done kind of in one fluid take, in which he goes to someone's apartment to hook up with her and murder her, and is pushed back onto her bed, at which she has a mirror over her bed. And you are good. It's like, and you're watching Elijah Wood up in that mirror, and I have absolutely truly no idea how they did that, and I think it's really, really amazing.
That's she's one of the standouts in this movie. That's Megan Duffy, who's kind of a great scream queen. She's been in a lot of these kind of like, she's been in like a lot of straight to DVD horror movies, and she's quite good in this. All of her tattoos are painted on. She's not a tattoo girl. She's not an alt girl at all.
That's impressive. They look very
she's really
real.
She's really not an alt girl. She's really good in this. The one thing that stretches believability in this movie to me, kind of the only thing, is that any woman on Earth would want to fuck him. I mean, he's very cute, but so she has messaged him on a dating website, even though he doesn't have a photo, and his name is Timid Man. No woman would be like, oh, no photo? Username Timid Man? I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Not a woman on Earth would ever do that.
My whole thing is he goes on to dinner with her and is freaking out, and then is like, I've got to go take my pills, and then comes back later, and then she's like, do you want to go back to my place? And I'm like, first of all, no. And then once they're back to her place, his hands are so fucking he's got open sores on his knuckles and on his fingers, and so much dirt under his nails. You do not want those fingers anywhere inside of your body. No, thank you. Get him over. And he we later see that he brushes his hands with Brillo pads.
I know.
That he uses to clean his knife. It's horrifying.
This girl has a death wish. One woman in her right mind would be attracted to this man. He's so weird and off-putting, but
it is having not
seen, every
seen,
woman's intuition is good.
I haven't seen the original movie, but I do know what Joe Spinell looks like. So
vile.
Joe Spinell is very scary. He's
Elijah
a big
Wood
guy.
Is a big step up.
Elijah Wood is adorable. I love Elijah Wood. He's so cute, and he even as this character is still cutie little Elijah Wood. He's got all those little turtlenecks on, but he's also fucking disgusting. So I can at least buy a little bit the idea that someone would talk to him and go on a date with him, but I would not let him touch me.
I am somebody who infamously am attracted to weird little guys. Famously, that is my type. My favorite kid in the hall is Bruce McCullough. I have my boyfriend of many years is a weird little guy. My ex-boyfriend was a weird little guy. I married a weird little guy. Maybe I would fall for this too. Maybe I'm lying.
My girlfriend loves Elijah Wood. And as we were watching this, I was like, you would fall for this, wouldn't you? And she was like, shut up. And I was like, yeah. Oh, I know.
And also my perfect man is 5'7". I'm 6'1".
Runs a mannequin store. Yeah. You could fix him.
I could fix him. So yeah, story wise, in case I don't know if it's even worth it. We've talked for like 20 minutes. But he plays a man named Frank Zito who lives alone. He's the only one in his family left alive, apparently. He runs the 3 generations of this family business that restores mannequins in downtown LA. He's plagued by memories of his mother, who seemed to be some sort of sex worker or a sex addict or both. And he kills women and steals their scalps and staples them to mannequin heads. And that's the movie.
Yeah. I will say, after having watched quite a bit of Criminal Minds earlier this year while I was working, and then, of course, a lot of horror movies this Halloween season, I'm really kind of tired of the, like, serial killer's backstory is, mommy was a sex worker. Like, it's been done. It's been done. Like, it's implied that a lot of the scenes with his mother that are like remembered in this movie are like probably assault. And the fact that he had to watch them or chose to watch them from kind of voyeuristic vantage points is disturbing. But like, from a writing standpoint, if you're like, okay, I'm working on this script, it's a TV pilot, or it's a movie, or it's an episode of a show, and all right, I got a serial killer. Why is he a serial killer? What's going on? Why is he a serial killer? His mom's a whore. Like, please, can we... I'm tired.
Let's move on. Yeah.
We've done it. We've done it a lot. I'm sure it's the same backstory in the original, and that's why it's here. And of course, that's also 2013. It's like 11 years ago. Right. Whatever, fine. But like, it's not interesting.
Totally agree. I think this movie is misogynist. I think it kind of has to be in order to be as disturbing as it is and to ask the kinds of questions that it asks. And I don't think that makes the movie bad either. I don't know. I think that these filmmakers are misogynist based on the body of work that I have seen. But it's also an interesting movie and it works in part because of the misogyny. I don't know. I feel complicated about it. What do you think?
It's interesting because you definitely don't think they're like fully siding with Elijah Wood at points, but then, and so you were presenting this as like the worst case scenario of, to use contemporary parlance, toxic masculinity and like incel behavior and whatnot. And like, yeah, all of that's bad. We can all agree that's bad. And it seems like the filmmakers are probably on that side. But then also, he gets friend zoned.
Yeah.
Near the end of the movie, in a way that you kind of are. I feel like the filmmakers are trying to make us sympathize with him a little bit. The reveal that like he's been going on a date with this girl and he's been like developing feelings for this girl, and then oh no, she has a boyfriend. She just hangs out with him because she thinks he's gay or whatever. And there's something really shitty in that. Something very 2013 in that.
Yeah. And you could make the argument that, they are commenting on these phenomena. But the way that they film women and write women kind of betrays that a little bit.
It feels one-dimensional.
The work of these filmmakers, I'm talking about both about Alexandre Aja, who wrote this, and Frank, what's his name? Laffoon?
Frank Calfoun.
And the French extremists and in general, and the work of these like kind of 2000s filmmakers, they're kind of the last generation that we've had of like the booby horror movie filmmakers, where it's just like lots of boobs all the time. This is definitely seems to be made for a male audience.
There's a handful of points in this movie where it's like tits.
Yeah. A lot of those, and then they get brutally murdered. So
exactly, there's a character that my girlfriend and I had previously watched the Hammer movie, The Vampire Lovers, a few nights ago, and there's a point in that movie where Ingrid Pitt is like seducing another woman, and she gets out of a bath and is like, "Hand me a towel," and then wraps the towel around her waist so her tits are out. And we're like, that's like, okay, Hammer, love you, got you, see what you're doing, that's fun, ha 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 ha. And then someone does that in this movie. Someone does that in Maniac. A woman like he's like doing the fucking Jeffrey from Blue Velvet, like peeking through a closet, and you watch her like she, after having like done an aerialist number, she like walks out of the shower with a towel wrapped around her, just her waist with her boobs out, and you're like, bullshit.
Yeah, totally. That's the way that a man wraps himself in a towel, because that's where his private parts are. That is not the way that a woman wraps herself in a towel.
No, and it's like she's just in the girls' locker room. All the girls walk around with their boobs out in the girls' locker room.
Absolutely not. Even I know that, and I'm a man. Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, all I mean to say is I think that this movie is really good and really interesting. I can also recognize that it is misogynist.
Mm-hmm. Weirdly,
I think the misogyny of this movie is kind of part of it, and you have to take the good with the bad, and it's part of the package. And it's something that we've been talking about a lot on the show, is that, like, I don't know, a movie's morality doesn't have to align with my own. Or that, like, I don't know, it's like the Bechdel code. People talk about the Bechdel code in a way that it's like passing that makes a movie good or bad. And it's like, actually, there's a ton of movies that don't pass the Bechdel code that are really good.
This movie passes the Bechdel test, and it's misogynist. So
yeah. I guess I just think that this movie is misogynist and also a good movie. And it's just part of the stew of this.
And you know what? There's a lot of movies that are like that.
Yeah.
I will say it's funny to me, having not seen this in 2013 and just watching it for the first time now. This is obviously discussed as like the modern contemporary remake of William Lustig's Maniac from 1981 or whatever. This movie is 11 years old. Watching it, it feels dated as hell. This feels like so extremely, like, so many of the outfits in this movie are like the like artsy photographer girls got that like beanie on, and the like alt girls wearing the like stripy knee socks, and like it is so painfully 2030. I feel like people are about to break out in a flash mob to a Foster the People song at any moment.
I like it because I really liked that era. You know, the score is like very chromatics.
Yeah. The score by Rob is incredible.
Incredible. And it's interesting because it is a sort of nostalgia piece. You know, it's doing 80s throwback a little bit, and it's at a time before Stranger Things, before things like that. And we had some of this. We had House of the Devil kind of kicking this off, but that's a very small movie. And this is a small movie too. But I guess it came at a time when I wasn't sick of that yet. Like, if someone was doing this now, I'd be like, come on. Yeah. Why are we doing 80s throwback? And as much as the 80s is my favorite decade, I love the 80s. Don't get me wrong, but I've had enough. I've had enough.
We're sick of it.
In 2013. Yeah.
The 80s has lasted longer post the 80s than the actual decade. We've been doing 80s pastiche longer than there was a decade called the 80s.
Well, I was just listening to like a philosophy podcast about that very thing, where it's kind of talking about how culture has been flattened a little bit. Like, that seems like there's, if you think about the differences between the 1970s and the 1980s, they're very, very stark, like could not be any different. And that's the way it used to be. But since 2000, change has been more subtle than that. Like, if you took a 1980s song, like pop song, and played it for someone in the 1960s, they'd be like, is this from outer space? This is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. But now if you took a 2024 song and played it to someone in 1990, they would be like, this is a new song, right? Like,
yeah.
It just feels like everything's kind of the same. And part of that is segmentation, I guess. We're all, I don't know what it is. It's just like a weird phenomenon.
Yeah. There's so much more of like, I mean, the death of the monoculture, and
right, yeah,
there's a lot of that. I will also like, there's a lot less of like a singular underground moving things. as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different pockets of things and people doing their own thing. But also the way that technology works, we've like globalized the world a lot more. So like,
Hmm.
and markets now have to like reach to everyone at all times, so there's no more risk being taken.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's hard to imagine like a regional musical scene popping off now. Like the last one I can
yeah,
think of is like New Orleans Bounce from the 2000s, and maybe there's been one since then. But like I grew up in Seattle in the 90s, right? And the
yeah.
eyes of the entire world were suddenly on Seattle because of grunge and alternative music, and it's like just kind of hard to imagine something like that happening now.
Well, because there's no more like interpersonal melting pot of ideas and cultures like pushing things to it. Because like the if you look at like the LA punk scene of the 80s, it's coming
Hmm.
out of like all the Hispanic kids and like low class like white and black kids growing up there and their anger at what was going on there and the music that they were able to get at the time and the way that pushed out versus what like the Bad Brains were doing in Washington DC because they had different access to things and they had different
Yeah.
lives and so it
Yeah.
produced different things. Everyone's on the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the internet. Everyone has a Walmart. Everyone has a Target. Like it's
Every place
all
is kind of the same.
a lot's been homogenized and to the point that
Yeah.
like you can get Chipotle in fucking China and England. Like
Hmm.
so people's experiences are getting a lot more homogenized. So the creative output is getting a lot more homogenized.
Right.
And it's being told to be more homogenized because that sells better.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Maniac?
I think Maniac is a banger. I think it's fucking disturbing. I think it widely deserves a re-release and a restoration to be rediscovered. But those little 2013 beanies do not.
Well, let's move on and play our favorite game. Have they seen it? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I have someone in mind. Hold on. Who's the
Dead
DJ with
Mouse,
corn with like braids, like really disgusting? Um,
Skrillex.
Skrillex, yeah. So I was thinking of this era. I don't know this music at all because I don't, between you and me, I don't like electronic music or electronic dance music. But I just immediately thought of Skrillex with his disgusting hair. Do you think Skrillex saw Maniac 2020?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I think this was like cool guy. I think he saw it at the Cine family in Los Angeles.
Nothing problematic ever happened there.
No. Um Yeah, I think he absolutely has saw this movie around that time, and it
Yeah,
was like a thing to do. But I also don't think he's thought about it since then. Um,
probably not.
it seems like he's still do. I still see people post about like, oh my god, we ran into Skrillex or something like that. And I'm like, who cares? Like,
Do you do you this is such a weird question. Do you think Skrillex is nice? Like do you think like if you had dinner with him he would be like a nice cogent person?
I feel like now he probably would be
Hmm.
maybe nicer, but I feel like
Hmm.
probably in 2013, no.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah,
accept that.
fame fuckers be like.
Yeah.
Um the so again, I have no experience with the original Maniac, and I mostly know Joe Spinell from other films. I like really know Joe Spinell from Cruising, in which he
Hmm.
plays the DL cop. Um which is a great use of him because he's very memorable. Um but do you think uh William Friedkin ever came around and watched the remake of Maniac? He was still I think he had just made Killer Joe around that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Um hmm. I want to say no, but it could have. I mean, this had a very limited release. It's unrated, so that meant that it couldn't be in multiplexes or things like that. So you kind of had to go to an art house theater in the United States to see it. And it was like a very limited release. But then you could have seen it on DVD or on a streamer. But I just want to say no. But what do you think?
Yeah. I after a cursory Google search, I can see that William Friedkin was a big fan of the original Maniac.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Which, yeah, absolutely makes sense. He's also, I mean, he was also a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and like
Yeah.
the dude made The Exorcist. So, I feel like there's a possibility. I feel like it's either he was like, they're remaking Maniac. Fuck that. Never.
I think it's that, because the lead
Yeah.
up to this was mostly that. Like,
Yeah.
the original Maniac has a very small but very rabid cult following. They were very angry that this was getting made. And then this did really well in horror film festivals, and people were buzzing about it in horror film festivals. And then it had a very limited release. So this is a movie that's very much still finding its audience, still developing its own cult. So I think that there are a lot of people out there who haven't seen this that have seen the old Maniac and just assume that this is like a shitty remake when it's actually quite good.
Yeah, he may have. I would think that if he saw this, he would really like it. He'd be very inspired by the POV and the aesthetic of it. But
I think he'd like it. I am, of course, if nothing else, a giant Lord of the Rings nerd and fantasy nerd. And of course, Elijah Wood is Frodo Baggins. Do you think that Samwise Gamgee, Sean Astin, has seen Maniac 2012?
That's very funny, because what I did to like come down after watching this was to put on Psych, the mid 2000s detective comedy TV show, and I put on their Friday the 13th slasher parody episode starring Mackenzie Astin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very, very cute.
Astin was so cute. He was so cute.
Yeah, all of them are incredible. I love the Astin family with their mom Patty Duke.
I did not know that Patty Duke was their mom until this year, like 2 months ago.
I didn't realize it was probably last year or something like that. But yeah, like, are you fucking kidding me? Your dad is Gomez Adams and your mom is Neely O'Hara. No wonder you're both so talented. Good God.
And Sean Astin as Samwise Gamgee, it's like protect Samwise at all costs, like the dearest, sweetest, most lovable character of all time.
Do you I'm gonna say he's definitely seen him.
He seems like a good friend.
Yeah.
Based on Samwise Gamgee, the most famous good friend of all time. I know that you don't know Lord of the Rings at all, and you're like, what are you talking about? But
I've seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've seen the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy twice. Once around the time it came out, and it did nothing for me even as a child.
That's a crazy thing to say, but go on.
And then when I was in high school, I was in a band, and all the people in the band loved Lord of the Rings, and I was like, it's not for me. And they were like, oh, you just haven't seen the extended cuts. And so they forced me to watch the extended cuts over the course of like a month. Every time we'd hang out, I was like, oh, we're doing this tonight. They're like, no, we pulled this so we could show you Twin Towers, whatever. And I was like, fuck.
Twin Towers.
Is it the 2 towers? I don't know.
2 towers.
Okay.
Twin Towers is so funny.
All right. So, yeah. Ivory, my girlfriend, loves Lord of the Rings. And so she puts up with me. I don't hate on them.
You just don't like fantasy movies at all.
I mean, I like The Princess Bride. I like Stardust. I like Legend with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry. The idea of like a quest, we must walk through the village of the tree people, but the Mushroom Kingdom's under attack. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
I love all of that shit. I love a movie about a long walk.
Oh my God.
So Sean Astin's a yes.
Sean Astin's a yes. Okay. Again, like horror lineage, good friend, good buddy. I think he would definitely have seen this movie. I think he would not have had fun, but I think he would have seen it.
No, he seems too nice. He seems too nice for a movie like this.
Elijah Wood seems too nice, but also he's such a little horror boy that, like, of course he's going to do this.
Little pig, actually. I mean, a nice person, but there's something dark in there for sure.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier about this era, whenever I look at the wardrobe of 2011 through 2015, the first thing that comes to my mind is the band Foster the People. With their #1 hit song about school shootings, Pumped Up Kicks.
Is that what that song is about? I thought it was about shoes.
That song's about Columbine.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. All the
Catchy.
other kids with their pumped up kicks, better run, outrun my gun is the chorus.
Ooh, that makes me like that song more. I was
It's
always like middling on that song.
yeah. I enjoyed their music, and I think Helena Beat is a great song, and I think their music after that first Torches album that was a big deal is still good a little bit in parts, but they very much like, I won't say one hit wonder, but they were very much like a group of that era that haven't made a mark since then. Do you think Mark Foster of Foster the People saw Maniac?
Yes, based on what I've just learned.
I don't think so. I feel like he's probably a bit more like twee boy.
Could be. I mean, that's a very the millennials. Are you a millennial or are you Gen Z?
I'm a millennial. I'm like
You're
right
like
at
a
the
baby
cutoff.
millennial.
Yeah.
That's how I am with like Gen X and millennials. So I'm either a baby Gen X or an old millennial. Millennials in general.
December babies.
December babies, both of us. Millennials in general are like a very twee generation, very twee, very earnest.
Yeah.
Which neither you nor I are. So it makes a good argument for us not being millennials. I think that's astute. I could believe that. Do you know what song I love that's sort of like that by a similar band is Young Folks by Peter, Bjorn, and John. I still love that song so much.
Oh, yeah. Whenever like MGMT or like Fun comes on the radio, I always turn it up a little bit and go, oh, yeah. And Ivory groans her fucking teeth out. Like,
I do like that stuff. I mean, yeah.
Kids by MGMT is great. And great listen, I'm sure people don't like the auto-tune in Fun, and We Are Young is not their best. But like, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have Jack Antonoff, and we wouldn't have all that Lana Del Rey, and we wouldn't have all that St. Vincent. So y'all can shut it. And Margaret Qualley wouldn't have a husband.
Exactly. He's got great arms as well, it must be said. He's very hot.
He's very hot.
Anyway, that's it for this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram, or that's it. I guess we're not doing Twitter anymore. Where are you?
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. I've done a few other podcasts recently. I appeared on the Lady Killers podcast, so go listen to that. We're talking about cat people, which I've already talked about ad nauseum on this show.
We did an episode about cat people.
But if you want to hear me talk more about cat people, along with other people, that go listen to that. You can also follow me on Letterboxd if you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline. I'm over there, and you can, find out what I made of that Macbeth Orson Welles movie I was talking about. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Sister Hyde. What about you, Josh? How can people stalk you?
I'm at Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I should have mentioned earlier when we talked about Paul Morrissey, if you're missing him, we did do a double feature on Blood for Dracula and Flesh for Frankenstein a couple of years ago, so you can go back and listen to that if you want to. Also, my film Spoons is going to be at the Bainbridge Island Film Festival if you're a Seattle local, middle of November for a weekend. So check that out. And yeah, I guess that's it. We are watching next week one of the most visually beautiful movies of all time, I think. What is it?
We are getting away. We're going to wash off all the sleaze from this week down in the crick. And we're going to emerge in a beautiful, dark fairy tale of a movie as we watch the venerated art house classic, Charles Laughton's The Night of the Hunter.
Ooh, I can't wait. I love this movie. Bye.